Bella's Fresh Mexican Restaurant has become an icon in the communities of Pleasant View, North Ogden, and Far West. Those who are intimately familiar with this restaurant know of Joe Cottom, his family, his staff, and the good that they do all around our community.
I've just always loved this area because just growing up, people always took care of each other. I remember, my mom and several ladies would do wedding dinners for people in the area, and then they would do wedding dinners when we got married. And so it was just, everybody shared, everybody cared, it seemed, and everybody was always, serving each other, doing stuff for each other. It was a good community to grow up in.
The Cottoms and their staff have always felt that their most important calling in life is to care for other people. Joe first learned this lesson serving the Lord in Bolivia. He witnessed how people who had so little would sacrifice everything they had, even if it meant not eating themselves, to serve those who had even less. As a young entrepreneur, he learned why these humble people took such great steps to serve.
I was a young entrepreneur, a little arrogant, and I wanted restaurants all up and down the Wasatch Front. And we had 4 of them in 2006. We opened a store in Layton, and circumstances, we ended up losing that store, lost about $1 million. I thought I was gonna lose my home, my parents' home, my in-laws' home. Everything was financed because I overextended myself, and we had to shut down that store, our Brigham City store, the Crossroads out in Tremont. And it was really hard, but looking back, there was some amazing stories that came during that time. That was that was a really, really hard time in my life. And there's a story of a local football team that had tried to start up, and the owner just abandoned them. They were living in the hotel across the street. And so my mom, we were food sponsors for one day a week. And when he abandoned them, they had nothing. The coaches tried to keep the team together and tried to finish out the season. And my mom just said, we need to feed them. So I just fed them. And they were, it was a football team, 18 guys, 360 pounds was the biggest guy, 6'7", 360 pounds. These were big eaters. And this was during that time that we really had nothing. And we gained some really cool friendships from them. They ended up getting kicked out of the hotel. I ended up actually moving about 12 of them into my basement. We went to Louisiana this year for just before Mardi Gras, and one of those guys drove like 3 hours, just to see us. And we were recalling that story, and I realized it was in the middle of a time when we were literally had nothing, and we spent thousands of dollars, feeding and housing these guys. And that was one of the neater experiences that I've had with people that, they weren't like us, They were big, huge football players and dreads and tattoos, but they were super cool human beings.
Like many of you, 2020 came as quite a shock for the Cottoms as a worldwide pandemic began to unfold. After years of serving others, the opportunity came for the community to reach out and serve one of their own.
I didn't know what was going to happen to my business. The day they said we were going to shut down, we've always had a to-go window, and literally the line was miles down the road on our to-go window. We quickly had to adapt and change things, and we went to curbside, which worked really good, but the support of the people around here was just unbelievable. Everybody was, giving extra money, and they said, we're not gonna, I get so emotional sometimes. The sentiment was that they weren't gonna let us go out of business.
Joe and his amazing staff are grateful for the love and support of this amazing community. This is why they continue to reach out and serve others in so many ways. Our community has grown to love this small business, and they have so far weathered the pandemic storm that has hit our community. Yet for Joe, his heart yearns for his fellow small business owners.
This year has been devastating for a lot of small businesses. There's 100,000 small restaurants across, not small chains too, or restaurants across the United States that will never open their doors again. And hundreds of thousands of other businesses that have been put out of business because the way we handled it. And like I said, it's nobody's fault because really nobody knew, what was going to happen during this pandemic. We've got to concentrate on gratitude and we've got to support our local businesses. We are so grateful for all the support that we got, and we've tried to pass that support on to others. But we've got to keep going. That's what we've always done, in America. We've just always kept going, no matter what. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to need, our support, and we're all just going to have to rally around each other, and we're going to all have to build each other up.
Caring for and building each other up have been the cornerstones of this great community we live in. We agree with Joe that now more than ever, our small businesses need our support. Over the next few weeks, as you shop for gifts to give to loved ones, we challenge you to think of ways you can support our local small businesses in that process. Doing so will make a difference for them, for you, and our entire community. And it is this sense of community that makes living here just the best.